We're going to go ahead now in a bit. We're going to introduce another member about, I guess, someone here that's dying to get on and want to talk to us. He has great knowledge. We've seen his work firsthand, and he's a great guy. Jay Morrison. Jay Morrison, want to come in? Want to give us a little bit?
Thanks for having me.
Man. Come sit in the middle.
I appreciate you. Hello, how are you? All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
So we've seen your work. I can see how you've grown as an individual, and you've taken yourself to the next level. And just please, tell your fans what sacrifices can they make to buy a home.
Okay, I think when you talk about purchasing your first home or multiple homes, as we like to build a portfolio and start wealth building, we have to understand the value of home ownership outside of just theoretically owning a home because it's the American dream, right? We have to understand that the reason why we want to own real estate is because we have to live somewhere anyway.
Yeah.
If I were to do a survey online and ask everyone to be honest and raise your hand at this question, I said, who here lives somewhere? All of us would raise our hand, right? We got to live somewhere anyway. And so if you're going to live somewhere, we prioritize home ownership because it appreciates in value. We get tax advantage from home ownership. We get cash flow. We build equity. And most importantly, we get power and control. Like our communities constantly get gentrified. People come buy them up and kick us out because we don't have any power and control. We have no ownership. It's either own or be owned, as Andre Hatchett says. All right? Own or be owned. Right? So what I want to say to you guys in regards to that is that when you get that, now you're willing to make the sacrifices. Well, first and foremost, keeping a monthly budget. Understanding your expenses every month. Stop just living check to check, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and not even knowing what's coming in and out of your account. So if you prioritize and have a monthly budget, you then can see where can we cut back. So you know what? I'm giving my kids way too much money for lunch money. Like, you don't need those pair of Jordans. You can do some Skippies right now. We need a home.
Yeah, $250 a month is expensive.
Yeah, because and when I look at home ownership, I look at it very competitively, right? As a community, what I look at is you're either the customer or you're the dealer, right? When I do my corner classes, that's how I pose it. You're the customer or the dealer, or you're the tenant or you're the owner, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're the tenant, and it's okay to rent sometimes, but you have to have a mindset of ownership to drive you towards that.
Eventually, you're going to want to own your own. You don't want to pay rent to someone your entire life.
Right, because what happens is you could keep your house nice, you could paint it, you can keep the roaches out, you can do whatever you want to do to your house, but after 12 years, right, of owning your property, how much you walk away with? of renting your property. You walk away with zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe your security deposit if your landlord doesn't poke holes in it and takes your security deposit.
You're helping someone else pay their mortgage.
You're helping someone else's family build wealth.
Yes.
Because remember I said appreciation, equity, power, control, tax advantages, cash flow. So when you're the tenant, right, what you're doing is transferring your hard-earned money, right? You're busting your butt running your business or working your 9-to-5 job or doing whatever you're doing when you're the tenant. And then you're transferring your hard-earned income over to somebody else's pocket so they can pay their mortgage company so their family gets appreciation, equity, power, control, tax advantage, ownership. So you don't want to be the sucker in the situation. You don't want to be the person that's constantly transferring your wealth to someone else.
What age should you start?
ASAP. I mean, this is our family should be ingraining this into our children from an age, it's generational.
What about teachers?
What do you say?
What about teachers?
Teachers as well. Yeah, so I think that's one of the biggest tragedies in our society is that we learn how to dissect frogs, we learn about world history, we learn how to drive cars, but they never teach us how to own a roof over our head.
That's very true.
And no high school, or not that I know of, and even the most prominent high school. My daughter goes to one of the top private schools in the country, and they don't teach this crap. They don't teach you about your FICO score, about your credit score, about secure credit cards.
Yeah, when you're young, that's not what you're thinking of. But it's going to be so crucial when you become an adult and you get a real job that it's stuff that should really be taught in school so that you're ready for the real world.
I mean, I do high school programs, and at the end of my high school programs, hip hop to homeowners, I have more teachers and principals run up to me saying, "I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what my FICO score was. I did not get a home with 3.5% down. I didn't know that I could get my closing costs included in a mortgage. I didn't know that I could have multiple co-borrowers in one loan. Yes. I didn't know I could get future rental income credit from the other units if I buy a 2-family or 4-family house." So when we get people to understand these basic common financial literacy points, which is why we're on this mission, why we're all here, why the source is participating in us building our community to financial literacy, once we get the information and we understand the importance of homeownership, because we don't want to be suckers. We don't want to transfer our wealth over to somebody else's wealth consistently.
Absolutely.
That's why we're in last place. We want to get out of last place.
We actually have a question here. What about people that don't make enough to save for a new home? What programs are offered?
Well, most inner cities have grant programs, home buyer assistance programs, etc. But for the people who say they don't make enough, this is where the budget comes in, prioritizing comes
Exactly,
in.
yeah.
So you don't make enough. Do you have a second job?
Yeah.
Do you? There's also multiple co-borrowers that you can have. Do you know you can use your Section 8 to actually purchase a mortgage or purchase a property? Section 8 is not a rental program; it's a housing program. But many of us just use it for rent. So you can also you can use your government assistance and other kind of programs for purchasing a mortgage. You can use multiple co-borrowers. So if you make 30 grand a year, I'm working at Burger King, I'm making 25 grand a year, and the Queen's getting Section 8. We all, instead of just being roommates, can go in on a multifamily. And now we can get a 3-family in the Bronx. We live in 1 unit, a 3-bedroom. We all take a room. We're using our income, and then we use the income from the other 2 units we're renting out to help us qualify for that loan.
Exactly.
Strategies. Money's not the issue. Credit's not the issue. Strategy is your problem.
Strategy.
And being aware that you have to make those sacrifices to get to your ultimate goal.
Right. How bad do you want it?
How bad do
Exactly.
you want it?
Exactly.
How bad do you want it?
We have another question for Jay.
Well, yeah, is buying a home with a friend a good idea?
How good is the friend?
How good is the friend? How good is it? If someone you can trust, where you can also have the attorney if you want to just keep it. Remember,
Yeah, if they put
sometimes you don't
everything in
want to.
writing.
Sometimes you don't want to ruin the relationship with your friend. Get an outside source, get an attorney, and have them detail exactly it is what you want, what you guys have in mind, and then you go from there. At least it'll give you a blueprint to moving forward. But if you can get it, I would say.
Just partnerships are great, especially when you're investing in real estate. But just really make sure that you cover each other and kind of like have everything in writing.
Right.
Right?
Want to touch on it, Jay?
Yeah, I think what Queen just talked about, that kind of sparked in me when you talk about how bad do you want it, and even like with partnerships or with friends,
Yeah.
it's something that you'll dive into and kind of figure it out. But a lot of times we're not intentional about getting information. So a lot of times we get into things uninformed, and I think it's really important to have your attorney or your legal team
Right.
be involved in that whole process.
Forget a trusted realtor.
That's right.
We have any more questions?
Yeah, got a number. What's the average price of a house in the Bronx?
An average price of a house in the Bronx for a single family, you're around $350 at this time right now. But that's for a single family. Multifamily, you're around $550, $500.
Yeah, and also you have to also consider the neighborhood.
There are some deals, but there are also the Bronx. We're a melting pot. You throw all the ingredients in, you turn around, it makes the best sauce. That's what the Bronx is. There's some properties that'll shoot up in the $1 million range. There's some properties you can get for as low as $350, $550, $650. So it all depends. But meet with your team to hammer out the best
Also
plan.
if it's renovated, if you got to put work into it, so all of those things come into account in terms of pricing and also what's selling in the area.
Yeah, and just one point, I'm not a Bronx expert, these are going to be the experts, but just in regards to owning property at higher price points, we talk about the multifamily at $550. A point I was making earlier, I want to kind of just further elaborate. When you get into the multifamilies, you got a 3-unit or 4-unit. Remember, anything 1 to 4 units is residential real estate, it's not commercial. So you can buy that owner occupied at 3 or 3.5% down.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about 15 grand down on a $500,000 property, and even that down payment could be granted through subsidies. But when you're buying a property of that size, those other 2 units, say you're renting them out for $2 grand a month, right? So that's $4 grand for the other 2 units. You're living in 1, you're renting out 2. That $4 grand a month, or $48,000 a year, banks will give you between 75% and 90% rental income credit of the future credit you're going to get on that property. Meaning, if you only make 30 or 40 or 50 grand a year, but your future rental income is going to be $48,000, the banks will add to your 50 grand a year 75 to 90% of that future 50,000 to help you qualify for that property.
Yeah.
So you may think you don't make enough for the property, but considering the future rental income, you probably do. And then I want to say to those people who go to happy hour every day, or those people that smoking that loud, you talking about you can't afford a property, but you smoke a bag of weed every day. That's $20 a day, $600 a month. That's $7,200 a year.
I'm glad you said it.
$7,200 a year is a 3.5% down payment on a $200,000 house. So you say you can't afford to purchase your own home, but you're smoking it all up.
Yeah. So think of those sacrifices.
Sacrifice. And happy hours.
Happy hours.
Yeah, the extra bag.
And get it in the club.
Yeah.
We have any others out there?
How long do you have to have a job to be qualified to get a loan for a mortgage?
Usually, a bank would look at 2 years of your W-2s and credit score. But you know, you want to show a history of work.
And there are programs out there for you college students, those who are graduating college.
Yeah.
If you're coming out of college and you have a promise of employment for a new job, the banks will accept you that promise of employment, and because you've been to college in that same field, you can come right out of college and actually purchase a property without the 2 years W-2s.
Any others out there?
Gonna get a proper intro from Jay. You're gonna tell us your life story.
My life still, we ain't got that much time. So I'm gonna give you the elevator pitch, guys. You know, current day, the CEO of 3 companies. I'm the fund manager of Tulsa Real Estate Fund. It's a crowd fund that we're launching June 1st on the anniversary of the Black Wall Street bombing, where we're going to be allowing our community to invest as little as $500 as partners into a crowd fund where we could buy real estate assets together. So you go to TulsaRealEstateFund.com to see that. I'm also the founder of the J. Morrison Academy, my school. We have a campus in Atlanta. We also have an online campus. You guys can check that out at jmorrisonacademy.com. And I'm also the CEO of J. Morrison Real Estate Partners, our development company that buys real estate for the last 12 years all over the country. So I've been a part of over $20 million in real estate acquisitions and assets and transactions. I'm a 3-time author, 2-time best-selling author. I've been on NBC, Fox News, CNN. I'm a social activist. I've been a part of the Freddie Gray protest, Alvin Sterling, Walter Scott, Alfred Wright. I'm heavy in the community. Instagram at Mr. J Morrison. It's MRJAY Morrison. You guys can Google me, J Morrison. Everything pops up really easy. But you know, I'm all about empowering the community. I'm on a 25-city tour currently. So I'm going to from 25 different cities. We just left Oakland with Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode. We'll be in Chi-Town this week, May 2nd, on Chi-Town on Pulaski and Madison. I'm doing a real estate corner class. So I go to 25 cities, I bring a flip chart out, and I teach real estate right on the corner in the hood, right on the block. And so we're 5 cities in. We'll be in Chicago, then we're going to Detroit, then Newark, New Jersey. We'll be in NYC soon. And so, you know, I'm just working, guys. Out working the work.
We want to thank you for taking a quick plane ride over here to New York.
Yeah, I flew up just for this.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
you guys.
much.
Thank
it's
you.
a pleasure.
Yes.
And you know, thank you guys for tuning in.
Catch us next time.
Catch us next time. If you want to know a little bit more about
we still have questions.
Oh, we got questions.
I just got here. What's up?
Chill. All right. How long do you have to be in a multifamily home before purchasing a single unit to flip?
There is no time limit. You can immediately go out if you want. You go into a multifamily home. If you want to leave out of that home and go into a single family or flip that out or rent it out and get a new home, you can do that. There's a great video on my YouTube channel, J. Mr. Real Estate, called Building Black Wealth, where I talk about the multifamily entry and exit strategy using FHA, VA, or conventional loans. You guys should check that out. And I want to say, for those of you who went through adversity in life, everything I just mentioned that I've done and do, I did all of that coming out of the streets, and out of 3.5 years or 2.5 years in prison, 3 felonies, a 3-time felon. I'm 11th grade high school dropout, never stepped foot in a college campus, but I'm a multi-millionaire through real estate and understand these same strategies we're talking about. So it can be done no matter what you come from. I come from welfare, WIC, free lunch in school, and food stamps.
Yeah.
But I made my way not from a scholastic education, but like a financial education. So be inspired.
How long do you need to be in a home before acquiring equity?
It depends how long. Well, it depends on who you banked with or where your loan came from. So FHA standards typically is 90 days, or you may just show 2 appraisals that there's equity there. And it depends how you buy the home. So sometimes you might buy a home at market value. You have to wait for the equity to increase, or you got to pay down the mortgage. But if you use my strategies and you buy right at 65% on a dollar, you'll go into the property with equity. Like right now, we purchased a property for $115,000 last Monday while I was in the air flying to Oakland. But we're refinancing that property already this week and tapping into the equity because of the type of loan that we got. So it depends on what strategy, who you bank with.
And also consulting with the right realtor for you.
Or a real estate coach.
Someone's asking about crowdfunding.
Yes, that's what we're doing with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. So it's a Regulation A Plus fund that we're launching, and it's dope because President Obama gave us opportunity. In 2012, he passed the Jobs Act, which prior to 2012, you had to have a net worth of $2 million or make $250,000 a year to invest in real estate funds. President Obama snuck this Jobs Act in, And now the non-accredited investor as well as the accredited investor all can invest in funds, which means that everyday person who doesn't make $250,000 a year or a net worth of $2 million, we now can pull our money together and invest in real estate. And that's TulsaRealEstateFund.com.
Got a question for you, real estate agents. What's the benefits of a bigger or smaller down payment?
Well, it all ties back into the equity. You know, the bigger down payment, the more likeliness you're going to get. You're going to pay into your equity. You know, if you do happen to buy something rather affordable and then the market hits and your prices shoot up, you're walking into more equity. But it also, the less you pay, the less down payment you pay, the more higher the mortgage is going to be. So sometimes you have to have a balancing act of how much you have saved versus how much money you want to put for the first for your property.
And then you guys want to consider, I think it's maybe your mortgage increases about $70 for every, or maybe like $60 for every 10 grand. So if you're going to put 10 grand down, like you say, you know what, I want my mortgage payment to be lower, so you're going to put 20 grand down to make your mortgage lower, you only decreased your mortgage payment by $120, right? So you may want to keep that 20 grand in your pocket, pay the extra 120 a month, but use that 20 grand to leverage it into hard money or other loans to actually buy and flip other real estate and make more money. I believe in making my money work for me. My money got to work too. I'll work hard, my money got to work hard. So instead of putting that money to the bank and just decreasing my mortgage, I'd rather leverage the money and make more money than pay it down in larger sums or just make more money. So,
absolutely.
Is it better to buy an abandoned home and fix it up, or is it a lot more costlier than getting a newer home and renovating?
Well, that all depends. You know, there are some times that you're just going to be throwing money into a home if it's damaged, or because if you don't hire the right team for you, like an inspector, to tell you what's wrong and right with the property, sometimes it can be very costly. So sometimes if it's just for you and not for business, I say, look at both and compare your options and make an informed decision. But if it's just for building wealth, you might want to lean toward the renovating a property and reselling it or holding on to it.
Yeah, I kind of piggyback that. I think one misconception is that we think that just abandoned homes or foreclosures or short sales are deals. And I say screw all of that. I don't care if it's $1 home. Doesn't mean it's a deal. Only a deal is a deal. And a deal is only dictated by the numbers. Your purchase price, your renovation cost, any liens or fees you got to pay, your all-in cost, then your after repair value, and understanding what that purchase ratio is and your ROI. That's why you need training, strategy, like I said, be informed, which is why we offer that.
Return on investment.
Yep.
Can you explain what is FHA and VA loans and what do they do?
FHA?
Well, federal housing administration loan, you can put as little as 3.5% down. So that's the advantage of using that loan. And a VA loan.
VA loan is, if you ever served in armed forces, there's a lot of programs you can take advantage of with the bank that'll give you a veteran's loan. Sometimes it's 0% down, which might be, which might get you the home that you need. Yeah, but it also, that 0% down. Remember, that also will determine your monthly payment of your mortgage.
Right, and I think you need 2 years of active duty. It could be Coast Guard, it could be military, you could be Navy or any other armed forces. So we have a lot of our students who are military who take advantage of that. You actually get more than one VA loan as well.
Yeah.
Would refinance create another mortgage payment separate from the actual mortgage?
No, it reboots it, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So you actually get a remortgage, a new mortgage, all new mortgage, the other one gets paid off, and now you're on new terms or a new rate.
Keep them coming, keep the questions coming.
So while you guys come with the questions, I want to give everyone on our stream a free course we have. We have a free real estate investors crash course at our school. You guys go to jmorrisonacademy.com, just put your name and email. We have a free 30-minute real estate investors crash course. We'll teach you the game in quick 30 minutes. Put you on.
Yeah, and also if you want to learn a little bit more about, the company that Oscar and I work for, Petiga Group, just check us out at PetigaGroup.com. And we're both on there, and you can meet our team of realtors.
Absolutely, and OscarRigamonti.com as well.
Coming back to the last question, does VA loan only a one-time deal, or can that be done as an investor?
You can, from my knowledge, you can only have a VA for one property.
You have multiple.
You have more?
Yeah, you got multiple properties, but it would be a second home. So you can do a primary residence and a second home. You can approach it with an investor mindset, but from a banking standpoint, you need to be an owner-occupant, meaning you need to live there. But it doesn't mean you can't leverage your VA or FHA loan and go live there, and then segue off and go live somewhere else, and then rent that one out or flip that one. So you can still have an investor's mentality, but technically you just have to be an owner-occupant of the residence.
So you can buy your initial home and then decide that you want to purchase a second one and just make that as your
investment in a sense.
Right.
Yep. And you can do that 1 to 4 families. So you can actually go buy a 4-unit, even mixed use. So you can buy a 4-unit with a store attached, and it still be owner-occupant, 3.5% down. You can rent it, flip it, whatever you want to do. You're the owner. You're the lord of your land, as I call it.
Yeah. We had a question here. What do you guys think of Lil Yachty?
What do you think of Little Yachty?
I'll pass on that. I'll pass on that. I like
Little Yachty should buy some big apartment buildings. That's what he should do. Take your publisher money, go park in an apartment building, and get these checks.
I'm gonna feedback on that.
What are your top 3 rappers?
Top 3 rappers?
Hove all day. Let's just make this clear. Like, best of all time. That's the GOAT. Like, we want to say right there. Everybody else after that, I don't even matter.
My top 3 is, and it's my top 3. Biggie, Pun, and I like Joe Budden. But that's me.
Okay, not bad.
I'm gonna go Hove, Fab, and I'll listen to Nas today.
Nas.
Yeah,
I got Nas there as well.
Yeah. I got a bag listening to Nas in 9-6.
Yeah.
Street dreams.
See your top 3 or no?
Shout represent for the ladies, man.
Well, Oscar knows that when I was in high school, I used to listen to the Rough Riders every single day.
Any more? Any others? Yeah? Well, catch us next time where we're going to be talking about selling with the Rigamonti team. Esperanza Estrella and Oscar Rigamonti. We look forward, and anytime, if you have any other questions, feel free to catch us on Instagram. Oscar_Rigamonti, OSCAR_RIGAMONTY, SB Estrella. I will be more than happy to answer questions or fill out Facebook Lives.
Or on Facebook, SB Estrella, the Realtor.
Oscar Rigamonti Realtor.
Cool. You can check me out anytime you need real estate coaching, high level stuff. You want to be a developer, you want to learn how to build a multi-million-dollar business. I got you. It's easy. So hit me up, jmorrisonacademy.com or at Mr. J Morrison on the gram. And
any questions that we didn't answer, just please DM us. We'll be more than happy to answer any other questions.
Just make sure you hashtag own yours.
Or be owned.
We're good?